Hey guys, in today's video we will continue our story called The Return of Zalama. Now that Goku and Zalama faced each other in a battle where Goku was defeated in a very humiliating way, the question that remains is, but what now? What will happen? And what will Zalama's plan be after all? You'll find out everything in this new episode, so grab a bucket of popcorn and your soda and come with me, and of course don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Well, without further ado, let's get started. In a completely empty place with no trace of life, it was possible to see a being similar to the Namekians of the 6th and 7th universes. He was floating in that place as if he was in a kind of deep coma, until his body started to glow, causing that being to wake up from its coma. The mysterious being said, "Where am I? And how did I end up in this place? And who am I?" asked the Namekian to himself while looking at that completely empty and dark place. Then suddenly a great golden light appeared, and the mysterious being could see a huge golden dragon with red eyes flying through several universes, bringing all those who were erased back to life. And at that moment the Namekian remembered who he really was and why he was at that location. The mysterious being spoke, "I remember now. I am Zalama. I am the creator of the Dragon Balls, the progenitor of the Namekians, and one of the 5 strongest beings in all the universes. I was sealed inside the Super Dragon Balls by Zeno, the father of Zeno," spoke the mysterious being now called Zalama. Zalama said, "It's been many years since I was sealed inside the Super Dragon Balls, but it seems that the seal is weaker than ever. Now I understand it. All I have to do with the desire to bring all the universes back to life. Making a wish as big as that must have made Zeno's seal weaker. In short, this is my chance to free myself from this place once and for all." Zalama spoke while still looking at the huge red-eyed golden dragon traveling and restoring several universes. Soon Zalama gathered much of his power and went into a state of meditation to be able to break the seal that held him in that place. And after a few hours, Zalama gathered all his power and managed to free himself from Zeno's seal. And quickly he came out of the Super Dragon Balls, and all the glow of the spears goes out, and after that each of the spears went to a corner of the 6th and 7th universe. Zalama said, "Finally free. I don't even know how many thousands of years I've been sealed in the Super Dragon Balls, but now I'm free. I need to keep myself informed of everything that happened in these last thousands of years. I'm going after from Zuno. He must still be in that palace I created for him, so let's go," said Zalama, soon flying towards Zuno's palace. Now at Zuno's palace, Zalama thought, "Wow, it's still the same as when I came here the last time," thought Zalama while looking at Zuno's palace from afar. And then the same, and enters inside the palace and goes to where Zuno was. Zuno thought, "Who is this being? I can't know anything about you, and it's something unacceptable. After all, I'm the being who possesses omniscience, the one who knows everything and everyone." He wondered mentally, the being who knew everything except the being that was in front of him, something that intrigued him. Zuno said, "Who are you, and what do you want in that place?" asked Zuno to the being in front of him, still a little curious to know who that being was. Zalama said, "It makes me a little sad, you know, so the being who knows everything and everyone forgets me. After all, you shouldn't forget the one who created this place, and you with the power of omniscience," Zalama said while removing the cloth that was in his face, causing Zuno to be extremely scared and intrigued as he looked at Zalama. Zuno said, "Zalama-sama, are you alive? But how is this possible?" spoke Zeno, very curious and still very surprised. Zalama said, "But of course I'm alive. Do you really think I would be killed by someone? And answering to your question, I was sealed inside the Super Dragon Balls, and just now I managed to free myself. But only one question, as a being who knows everything doesn't know about it." The Namekian asked Zuno, who was kind of having a mental breakdown and remembers everything. Zuno said, "I don't know what happened, but now that you said, and as I always knew this information, but at the same time I'm confused about the sealing," Zuno said while looking at Zalama, who now understood while Zuno had this amnesia. Zalama said, "I see Zeno was a really cautious guy. All knowledge about my sealing or where I was blocked by him. But now that I am free, those who know some information about me will now be able to remember everything related to my person," Zalama spoke while looking at Zuno. Zalama said, "Well, enough talking about the past. Now let's talk about another subject. I was a few hundred years trapped inside the Super Dragon Balls. I'm a little out of date with the current world, and because of that, I'm going to stay a few days inside from your library to learn about everything that happened during the time I was sealed," spoke the Namekian to Zuno. Zuno said, "I'll be happy to have you in my library, and I'll be useful to you. Feel free to stay here as long as you want. Zalama-sama, after all, this place only exists thanks to the Lord," Zuno said while looking from one respectful way to Zalama. Zalama said, "But before I enter the library, I have a question. How many years have I been sealed inside the Super Dragon Balls?" Zalama asked Zuno, who then put a hand on his chin as a sign that he was thinking. Zuno said, "You've been sealed for about 8 trillion years, but precisely 8,687,269,509,187 years. That's the total time you've been sealed within the Super Dragon Balls," Zuno spoke while looking at Zalama, who was surprised that it was sealed so long. Zalama said, "Wow, I really have a lot to read to stay on top of these last 8 trillion years. But by the way, why has the seal only gotten weaker now? It was because they used the Super Dragon Balls to bring out the universes that were erased by this tournament of power." Zalama asked Zuno, who quickly replied. Zuno said, "That's right, sir. The Super Dragon Balls are being used a lot recently, and that's why the seal must have become weaker," Zuno said to Zalama. Zalama said, "Well, if they use the spheres at a universal level, then that makes sense." "Well, but now it's time for me to start. I'm going to the library," said Zalama, soon going to the library. Without delay, Zalama entered Zuno's library and stayed there for a few days, which was enough time for Zalama to read each of the books in the place and be intrigued by some facts. The main one being a mortal named Jiren, who is a mortal who has surpassed the power of a god of destruction, and Son Goku, who was able to use the power of Ultra Instinct, both during the event called the Tournament of Power, where the low mortal-powered universes faced off. Zalama said, "This is really amazing. At that time, before I was sealed, I never thought that there would be a mortal with such great power as this guy, Jiren, who is as strong as a god of destruction, and especially this guy, Son Goku, who was able to use the power of Ultra Instinct. Really, this is amazing. Well, with that in hand, I already know what I'm going to do. I'll go to the Universe 7 and meet this Son Goku," said Zalama, excited to be able to meet the Saiyan, who was able to do something that the gods of destruction couldn't. After Zalama had decided his fate, he took a bath and ate with Zuno, and then went towards the 7th universe, but precisely to the planet of the god of destruction. After all, he wanted to talk to the god of destruction of the 7th universe. Now on the planet of the god of destruction. Currently in the 7th universe, but precisely on the planet of the god of destruction, it was possible to see Beerus, the god of destruction of the 7th universe, lying on a beach chair while drinking a cold drink and eating a piece of pizza with his angel, Whis, who had returned from planet Earth a short time ago. But soon Beerus feels a gigantic power coming to the place, making him stay on alert. Whis thought, "What an immense power! Who is this being that is coming here? With so much power, maybe he's one of the 5 most powerful beings in all the universe," thought the angel standing next to Beerus. Beerus said, "I don't know who it is, but I know what a good thing it shouldn't be. Seriously, this being has as much power as a high priest," thought the god of destruction, scared by the power of that being. Until suddenly, he stopped feeling the power that was coming from space and felt all of that power in his thing, so he quickly turns around and faces the hooded being. Zalama said, "Wow, after all these many years, this is how you welcome me, Beerus," said Zalama, giving Beerus a smile. Beerus said, "Zalama," said the god of destruction, half scared and very surprised by the being in front, on the planet of the god of destruction. Currently on the planet of the god of destruction of Universe 7, it was possible to see Beerus and Whis with a very confused and very surprised look as they both looked at Zalama, who had just arrived at the location. While Zalama had a very big smile on his face looking for your old friend. Beerus said, "Zalama, but how is this possible? I thought you were killed many years ago," asked Beerus to his old friend. Zalama said, "Me? Dead? Did you really think that I, one of the 5 most powerful beings in all the universes, would be killed easily? Seriously, Beerus?" Zalama spoke as he approached the god of destruction. Whis said, "But how is that possible? My father, the high priest, said that you had been killed or something, so how are you still alive?" asked the angel while looking at Zalama, who was now face to face with them. Zalama said, "The Daishinkan is very stupid to think that I would be killed by someone. There is only one being that can kill me, and he is not in this world anymore. In reality, he is probably in another alternate reality. In short, I wouldn't be killed by anything, and not even Zeno-sama can kill me." Zalama spoke in a kind of arrogant way, and at the same time proud to be one of the strongest in all the universes. Whis said, "So if you were alive all this time, because you just disappeared out of nowhere, without leaving any trace of where you were?" asked the curious angel to Zalama. Zalama said, "I was sealed inside the Super Dragon Balls, and answering your other questions, my dear Whis, the person who sealed me is the one who holds the title of strongest of all the universes, being he the only person who can face me. In short, he sealed me in the Super Dragon Balls, and apparently he made sure that nothing and no one knew where I was sealed. And not even Zeno, who is called the smartest and wisest of all the universes, knew where I was," Zalama said, explaining about why no one knew where he was and why there was no trace of where he was. Beerus said, "So you were sealed all this time? And by the way, why the strongest being that surpasses even Zeno-sama himself sealed you inside the Super Dragon Balls?" asked the god of destruction, curious as to why Zalama was sealed by the strongest being in all the universes. Zalama said, "Well, the strongest being in all the universes is also Zeno-sama's father, and well, he's called Zenio. And at the time I was interested in getting stronger and overcoming him, and that didn't please him very much. After all, I would be a threat to your son Zeno's reign, and so I was sealed away," Zalama explained to Beerus and Whis as he scratched the back of his head in a bit of shame. Beerus said, "So you were sealed because you tried to surpass Zeno-sama's father, and because of that he sealed you because you would be a threat to Zeno's reign?" The god of destruction spoke, very surprised and shocked by Zalama's revelation. Whis said, "Wow, this is a big surprise. It makes a lot of sense, so that's why you were sealed by Zenio," said the angel to Zalama. Zalama said, "Well, now enough talking about my past and the reasons that led to me sealing. Now I want to know more about this Tournament of Power. I learned about this event, and I also learned that your Beerus universe was the one that won the competition. And mainly, what intrigued me the most was that one of the mortals of his universe managed to use the power of the full Ultra Instinct, and that made me very intrigued." Zalama spoke while looking at Beerus, who was now much calmer than he was before, and now was remembering the Tournament of Power. Beerus said, "That's right. Universe 7 was the one who won the Tournament of Power, and the Saiyan named Son Goku was the one who managed to use the power of Ultra Instinct during the Tournament of Power," said Beerus with a tone of pride for his universe having won the Tournament of Power, and especially having a warrior who was able to use the power of Ultra Instinct. Zalama said, "Wow, this is really incredible. A tournament that brings together several universes to face each other, and brilliant idea, by the way. Who came up with the idea of making this Tournament of Power? Because I'm sure it wasn't the Daishinkan, let alone Zeno-sama," Zalama asked the god of destruction and his angel. Whis said, "The one who came up with this idea was Saiyan Son Goku. Apparently the universes with lower than expected mortal level would be erased completely, but because of this idea, they had a chance to stay alive. And how Zeno-sama liked this idea a lot, seeing several warriors battled each other, he accepted this proposal," said the angel to Zalama, who was even more interested in meeting this Saiyan called Son Goku. Zalama said, "Well, I'm going to want to meet this Son Goku guy, but let's leave that for later because we have a visitor here, right, Daishinkan?" asked Zalama, looking a little further into a small forest, where the Daishinkan, the great priest and father of angels, was coming out of the half-dark forest. Daishinkan said, "You still have great senses, Zalama. Even after these years, you don't seem to be weak at all. Isn't it, Zalama, the dragon god and creator of the Super Dragon Balls?" said Daishinkan, approaching the group, leaving Whis surprised and Beerus with a little fear of the great priest being at that location. Beerus said, "Great priest, when did you arrive? Whis, why didn't you warn me he was coming to our universe? And by the way, is Zeno-sama with you?" asked the god of destruction to the great priest, and then looked at his angel. Whis said, "I'm sorry, Sir Beerus, but I also didn't know that my father was coming to our universe," said the angel, looking at Beerus, who was still in shock. The Daishinkan said, "Don't worry, Zeno-sama didn't come with me today." Today, I didn't see it because of you either, but because of Zalama, said the Grand Priest, pointing his finger at Zalama, who was very calm at that moment. Zalama said, "Wow, Daishinkan, and as soon as you talk to a friend you haven't seen in so long, and by the way, you should stop releasing your energy towards me. After all, I didn't get weak after my sealing, and you still are too weak to face me, so put your ball down or I'll have to kill you." Zalama spoke in a calm and cold way, but at the same time he started to release some of his power, which was enough to overcome the Daishinkans and make the entire Universe 7 shake. Daishinkan said, "Really? You haven't gotten any weaker than before. But even though you're stronger than me, if you try to do something to Zeno-sama, I'll face you even if I die for it," said the High Priest, a lot serious to Zalama, who just gave a smile and stopped releasing his energy just like Daishinkan. Zalama said, "Attaboy, that's why you're so aggressive today. Don't worry, I'm over this idea of overcoming Zeno, and I'm not in the mood to touch his son. Now I want to enjoy that I'm free and travel all over universes looking for sources of inspiration to create new inventions." Zalama spoke very calmly to Daishinkan, who was now a little bit more relieved. Zalama thought, "Even because I know I'm only alive today because Zeno was merciful, because I know he could have erased all my existence, and I still like being alive," thought Zalama as he remembered the monstrous power Zeno had that could have killed him. Daishinkan said, "Well, if that's what you want, there's no reason for me to be worried about you wanting to attack Zeno-sama. And by the way, how did you manage to be sealed inside the Super Dragon Balls all these years?" asked the High Priest in a half-mocking tone to Zalama, who ended up getting a nerve pulsing in his forehead. Zalama thought, "Look at this guy's audacity," thought Zalama a little nervous. Whis said, "Father, didn't you know that Zalama was sealed inside the Super Dragon Balls this whole time?" asked the angel to his father. Daishinkan said, "No, I only remembered it now because of this conversation. In fact, before the Tournament of Power, I didn't even remember the existence of the Super Dragon Balls. This must have been Zeno's work to prevent someone from trying to break the seal of Zalama." The High Priest spoke with one of his hands on his chin. Zalama said, "Zeno's cautious as usual. Well, now that we've brought the conversation up to date, I have to go meet a certain Saiyan. So Whis and Beerus, can you two take me to meet this Son Goku?" asked Zalama to the God of Destruction and his angel, who quickly nodded, saying yes with their head. After the arrival from Zalama to planet Earth, he started talking to several of the guests of Bra's birthday, Vegeta's daughter, especially with Piccolo. After all, they were both Namekians, and Piccolo would like to know more about the history of their race, so the two talked a lot. But even though he wanted to know more about the history of the Namekians, Piccolo was always wary of Zalama, as Piccolo felt a strange feeling towards Zalama and knew that a good thing was not. Piccolo thought, "Because from the moment I saw Zalama, I felt something very strange. It's a kind of feeling of danger and evil. I don't know why I'm feeling this way, but maybe this is something in my head. Anyway, I must not say anything to anyone," thought the Namekian as he looked at Zalama, who was eating beside him, until Whis and Beerus arrived at their side. Whis said, "Master Zalama, one of the main reasons you came to planet Earth was to meet Mr. Goku, isn't it?" asked the angel while looking at Zalama, who soon got up and looked at the angel. Zalama said, "That's right. One of my main reasons for coming to this planet is to be able to meet the mortal who got the power of Ultra Instinct, something that even the gods of destruction can't do easily, since other gods of destruction couldn't nor reach Ultra Instinct," said Zalama while looking at the angel, who gained a small smile on his face. Beerus said, "If this is what you want, then you will meet him right now. What do you think?" asked the God of Destruction to Zalama, who gained a smile on his face. Zalama said, "So what are we waiting for? Come on, I want to meet this Saiyan as soon as possible." Zalama spoke to the God of Destruction and the angel beside him. Whis said, "So let's meet him right now, so follow me please," said the angel, starting to walk and being followed by Beerus and Zalama. But something neither of them noticed that Zalama gained a small smile on his face, an evil smile. Soon Whis, Beerus, and Zalama arrived at the place where Goku was eating with his family, and Vegeta's family. The moment Vegeta and Goku saw Zalama, both were afraid, but as he was beside Beerus and Whis, the two became calmer. Whis said, Mr. Goku and Vegeta, this is our friend Zalama. And Zalama, these are Son Goku and that and Vegeta, said the angel, introducing Zalama to Goku and Vegeta. Goku observed all this. He realized that he had already heard the name of Zalama somewhere, so Goku made a thoughtful face and put his hand on his head. And it was at that moment that Goku managed to remember everything. Goku said, "Zalama, now I remember who you are," said the Saiyan, attracting the attention of his family and Vegeta's family. Vegeta said, "What do you mean, Kakarot? Do you know who this guy is?" asked the Saiyan prince to his rival. Goku said, "In one of the times I went to visit Mr. Zeno, I ended up talking to the Daishinkan and Whis ended up saying that he was one of the 5 strongest beings in all the universes. So Zalama, are you one of these beings?" Saiyajin asked Zalama, something that attracted not only his family's attention, but also the attention of all the guests at Bra's birthday party. Zalama spoke. "Yes, I'm one of the 5 strongest beings in all 12 universes." Zalama spoke with a small proud smile on her face. The moment Zalama admitted that he was one of the 5 strongest beings in all the universes, everyone in the place was very shocked, except for Goku, who was very excited to have one of the 5 strongest beings in all the universes in front of him, and he wasn't. Managed to contain his excitement, something that caught Zalama's attention. Zalama said, "You seem very excited, Son Goku. Why exactly are you so happy?" asked the Namekian to the Saiyan, who was very excited. Goku said, "I'm just very excited to have one of the strongest beings in all the universes in front of me. So Lord Zalama, please fight me," asked the Saiyan to Zalama, who was a little surprised. At that moment, Goku said that everyone in the place was very shocked by Goku's lack of concept for wanting to face Zalama. Before Goku said anything else, Beerus appeared by his side and covered his mouth so he wouldn't say anything else. Beerus said, "Ignore what that idiot just said. Zalama, he's kinda crazy, so ignore it, please." The God of Destruction said to Zalama, who was looking at the same. Zalama said, "Don't worry, Beerus. By the way, I accept your request, Son Goku," said Zalama while looking at the Saiyan, who got even more excited to face Zalama. Zalama said, "But not now. At the moment, I want to be able to eat more of these delicious foods. So a little and later, I will fight you. But I won't take it easy, so keep that in mind, understand?" asked Zalama to the Saiyan. Goku said, "Yes, sir. I'll be waiting to be able to face you later, Sir Zalama," said the Saiyan, a little more discouraged for not being able to fight now. But even so, he was still excited, since later he will be able to face one of the 5 more beings, strengths of all universes. Beerus said, "Lucky for us, Zalama is calmer than the other supreme beings, because if not, the planet Earth and maybe the entire universe would be destroyed because of Goku," said the God of Destruction, as he let out a heavy sigh and looked at him. The Saiyan, who was smiling and scratching the back of his head because of the little embarrassment. Whis said, "Mr. Goku, being himself, because not everyone would want to face Zalama," said the angel while looking at Zalama, and then at Goku. Bulma said, "Someday these actions of Goku will end up killing us all," said the blue-haired woman while holding her daughter in her arms. Vegeta thought, "Why wasn't I a big fan of this Zalama? Maybe it's just a bad impression, like I had with Kakarot years ago. It's better to ignore it," the Saiyan thought while looking suspiciously at Zalama. Later that day, after Bra's birthday party was finally over, some people left while others decided to stay to see Goku versus Zalama's fight that would take place today. Zalama said, "Before we fight, I have to ask, are you sure about this? After all, I won't take it easy," asked Zalama to the Saiyan. Goku said, "Yes, I'm absolutely sure. So let's start," said the Saiyan, soon transforming into Super Saiyan and advancing towards Zalama. Goku already transformed into Super Saiyan and started to attack Zalama from several different directions, but none of the attacks even hit Zalama, who was being protected by a barrier that was around his body. Seeing this barrier, Goku turned away from Zalama and transformed into Super Saiyan God and returned to attack Zalama. But just like before, the attacks didn't even pass Zalama's barrier. Goku moves away from Zalama again. Goku turned into Super Saiyan Blue and used Kaioken X10 and started attacking Zalama, who for the first time defended himself using his wooden staff. Goku, seeing that Zalama moved for the first time, he started to defend himself, while Goku started attacking Zalama several times, but none of his attacks hit Zalama, who defended them all. Goku said, "You are really very strong, so let's start this fight for real," said the Saiyan, returning to his original form, and soon a white aura surrounded his body, and then his hair turned completely white. Now Goku was using the power of Ultra Instinct Complete. Zalama thought, so he really can use that power. It was kind of fun, but it's about time I put an end to the Saiyan's joke, thought Zalama, soon dodging Goku's attack that came at him at high speed. Zalama, now a little more serious, started to attack the Saiyan, and even Goku using Ultra Instinct, he couldn't dodge or defend most of Zalama's attacks, which even containing his forces was very powerful, and his attacks made the Saiyan feel a lot of pain. Zalama thought, it was fun, but now it's time for me to stop, otherwise this Saiyan will die. And on the other hand, now he and everyone here has seen why I am one of the 5 strongest in all the universes, thought Zalama while facing the Saiyan, who was completely composed from Zalama's last blow. At the moment that Goku fully recovered and was going to attack Zalama, he disappeared and reappeared in front of Goku, and with one of his attacks, he knocked Son Goku out with a punch in the middle of his stomach. The attack was so powerful that everyone in the place could see a type of golden dragon made from Zalama's aura pass through Goku's body, showing that Zalama could easily kill Goku, but didn't want to. Zalama thought, this mortal is quite interesting. Who knows? I might not use him in my plan, thought Zalama while giving a discreet evil smile. After the battle between Goku and Zalama, where Son Goku was easily defeated by Zalama, who didn't even try to defeat the Saiyan, Zalama now had Goku's body above his shoulders, where Zalama was floating, and soon he placed Goku's body on the ground near the Saiyajin's friend. Zalama said, even for a mortal, he is quite strong. It was quite an interesting battle. If he trains for like 10 or 100 years, maybe he will be able to make me use 20% of my true strength, Zalama said while looking at the body of Son Goku, and then immediately looked at his friends. Whis said, I knew that Lord Goku had great potential, but being recognized by the Dragon God himself is admirable, said the angel, impressed by Goku, having said the honor of having been considered by someone strong, who is among the 5 most powerful being strengths of all universes. Beerus thought, it's once again this Saiyan can do something that no one else can, and was still able to withstand Zalama's blows and still managed to stay alive, thought the god of destruction while sighing as he looked at Goku, who was almost dying, something he did. Everyone in the place is scared to see Goku full and bloody. Gohan said, Daddy, screamed Goku's son, worried about his father. Bulma said, Krillin, go and get the seeds of the gods that I have inside my office, and do it quickly. If you take too long, Goku might end up dying, said the woman, desperate to prevent her childhood friend from dying. Krillin said, you can leave it to me, and see if Goku doesn't die, speak the human, soon leaving the place at high speed, going in search of the seeds of the gods that were in Bulma's office. But the moment Krillin left the place, Zalama, who was just watching without saying a word, was kind of intrigued by the seeds of the gods. Zalama thought, seeds of the gods? What are they, and what can they do? Perhaps they can regain vigor and heal for whoever ingests them. If that's what I'm thinking, I need to know where I can find these seeds and find out how far their powers can go. If they're useful to me, I'll pay attention to them to get stronger and better, thought Zalama, still wanting to know more about these seeds of the gods. After a few seconds, Krillin finally arrived at the place with a small leather bag that had some seeds from the gods, and then gave it to Bulma. Krillin said, Hey Bulma, said the human, giving the seeds of the gods to his friend, who then took one of them and put it in Goku's mouth. Bulma said, Here Goku, they are seeds of the gods, so eat them quickly, said the woman, and which quickly Goku ate the seeds of the gods and that was in his mouth. But unlike all the other times, the seeds of the gods were only 100% efficient. They only managed to prevent Goku from dying at that moment. So if Goku was not taken care of correctly, the Saiyan would die in a few hours. Everyone, seeing that the seeds of the gods were not being so efficient, looked at Zalama, who was responsible for leaving Goku in that state, while the Dragon God watched everything with his own hands on his chin, who only thought about the seeds of the gods. Bulma said, What exactly was that? The seeds of the gods have always worked. What was in it? Zalama's attack that made Goku stay that way? "What exactly did you do?" asked the half-altered woman to Zalama. Zalama said, "Sorry, I think I ended up getting heavier than I thought. Maybe putting Goku in a temporary coma should help him. But don't worry, he won't die. I think you can help him with your technologies, and I would like to know more about these seeds of the gods." Zalama spoke, giving an option to Goku's friends. And he then wanted to know more about the seeds of the gods, something that made him curious. Chi-Chi said, "So let's help Goku so he can recover. Bulma, do you have any machines that can speed up the process and help Goku?" asked Goku's wife to her blue-haired friend. Bulma said, "Of course we can. We can put him in the same machine I used when he and Vegeta were defeated by Black and they needed to recover quickly. So in a few hours it should be enough for him to be fine," said the woman, then looking at Vegeta, who got angry, remembering Zamasu, who had switched bodies with Goku in the future where his son Trunks lived. Zalama thought, "Black? Are there other mortals as strong as this boy? The more I find out about this universe, the more intrigued I get, and the way they referred to this Black, he must not have been an ally, but an enemy of them. Well, I can find out about that later," thought Zalama as he watched everyone's every word in that place. Vegeta said, "Let's get this over with, since I already know that I'm going to have to carry Kakarot to the recovery capsule. So let's get it over with," said the Prince of Saiyans while looking at Bulma, and then at Zalama, who already got the message. Soon Zalama took his staff and pointed it at Son Goku, and from that staff came a golden energy that entered Goku's body, and soon the Saiyan ended up going into a temporary coma. Zalama said, "Okay, now he should go into that coma that should last 12 hours, but if he wakes up before that time and his body still has all the injuries, ask him not to move because his wounds can end up opening and even increasing. So I advise him to make the most of these 12 hours, said the Dragon God while looking at everyone in the place who were already getting suspicious about him. But among those who were suspicious were Vegeta and Piccolo, who were annoyed by Zalama's presence, as both were already suspicious of him and his intentions. Piccolo and Vegeta thought, "He's not trustworthy, not at all trustworthy." The Prince of Saiyans and the Namekian thought while looking at Zalama. Bulma said, "So let's not waste any more time. Vegeta, Piccolo, take Goku to room 8. There's a recovery capsule. I'll arrange some things so the capsule can recover Goku's body in these 12 hours, said the woman to her husband and to the Namekian. Soon they were each on one side of Goku and both lifted him up, putting the Saiyan's arm over his shoulders, and after that they quickly took Goku's body to room 8. Now in room 8, after Vegeta and Piccolo took Goku's body to room 8, they both started talking until Piccolo ended up talking about Zalama, where he said he was worried about the Dragon God's presence. Piccolo said, "Vegeta, I noticed that you don't like Zalama's presence either, or am I wrong?" The Namekian asked Vegeta. Vegeta said, "So I'm not the only one who's suspicious about Zalama. I don't know why, but I don't like him, and I'm sure he doesn't want a good thing, and it can affect all of us," said the Saiyan Prince to Piccolo. Piccolo said, "The worst thing is, knowing that no one can defeat him. After all, he is one of the 5 strongest beings in all universes, and even the gods of destruction and the angels could not defeat him." Vegeta said, "What can we do at the most, and hope that nothing bad happens? But we'd better wait for the worst to happen too," said the Prince of Saiyans while looking at Goku's body that was already inside the recovery capsule. Now with Zalama. Currently with Zalama, he was talking to some people from the place looking for information about the seeds of the gods, and about the one they call Black. Zalama thought, "So these seeds of the gods are capable of recovering 100% of an individual's stamina, and also recovering all injuries at the same time. Really something very useful, but still not strong enough to recover the Saiyan's body because of my blow. So if I have access to these seeds of the gods, I can create new versions of them, more powerful versions than the current ones, and these new seeds of the gods would be very useful to me," thought Zalama, as he thought of her new project, a project that would involve the seeds of the gods. Zalama thought, "But this story of this being you call Black is really interesting. Knowing that the Kaioshin used my Super Dragon Balls to switch bodies with a mere mortal would be a disgrace to us the gods. But as a chosen mortal, it was Son Goku even makes sense. But time travel is very serious as a crime, and even then Zeno did nothing to punish those mortals who committed such a crime," thought Zalama as he thought once again that Zeno-sama didn't deserve the power he had. Zalama thought, Now that I have new plans to fulfill, I sure my wishes will be easily fulfilled. I'm going to create new seeds of the gods, but much more powerful. Use that time machine that this human created and go back in time at the time that this Goku Black existed, and make him stay by my side. And after that, I will order him to kill all those who stand in my way. Meanwhile, I will end up with the most powerful people like the Daishinkan, and then finally, I will be able to kill Zeno and become the strongest being of all the universes. And if Zeno wants to stop me, he can come, because this time I will be ready to defeat him, thought Zalama as he walked away from everyone in that place, while he had a predator smile on his face, as he thought about killing Zeno and also Zenio. In a world similar to Zeno-sama's world, currently in a place very similar to the Zeno-sama Palace, where the two Zenos live, it was possible to see an angel in a type of training room, being the angel Daishinkan, the high priest, and the one who is in charge of taking care of Zeno and fulfilling his wishes. The Daishinkan thought, if Zalama thinks I'm going to believe that he's changed during those years, that he's been sealed inside the Super Dragon Balls, he's sorely mistaken. I know he's not a good person, and I know he'll try to do something against Zeno-sama. Since now Zenio-sama isn't in this world, he can't stop Zalama from doing whatever he wants, thought the angel while continued to train there. Daishinkan thought, Zalama is not yet at his full strength, so he won't attack for a while. But it won't take him long to have his original strength, and when that happens, I'm sure he'll come up with a plan to defeat Zeno-sama. And that's what you should be doing now. And because of that, I'll have to train as much as I can to at least leave Zalama very injured, and that way Zeno-sama will be able to defeat him. The angel thought as he hit a bag boxing box only 1,000 times stronger than any material found on Earth or any other universe. As the Daishinkan trains like he's never trained before, one of Zeno's guards ends up coming out of a portal and is a little far away from the Grand Priest. Zeno's bodyguard said, Great Priest, I know you're worried about Zalama's presence, but you mustn't forget your duties as a priest. So I ask you to go back to take care of Zeno-sama because he's already asking where you are. One of Zeno's bodyguards spoke to Daishinkan, who had now stopped training. The Daishinkan said, I know that, but I know that the damned Zalama was responsible for Zeno-sama's near death in the past, and that worries me, because only Zenio-sama was able to face him. And you must remember that I'll also face that Madlilto, but as I said, you must remember, right? I was defeated easily, said the angel while looking at Zeno's bodyguard, who had remembered him against Zalama a millennia ago. Zeno's bodyguard said, Yes, I remember. I remember you were defeated in a very humiliating way by Zalama. But don't forget that Zeno's other bodyguard and I also faced Zalama. And just like you, we both were defeated. And we couldn't fulfill our duty, which was to protect Zeno-sama. Zeno's bodyguard said while looking disappointedly at Daishinkan. Daishinkan said none of us managed to fulfill our duties, which was to take care of Zeno-sama. And because of that, I want to get stronger. So that this time, when Zalama shows his claws, I can face him and maybe defeat him. And that way I can finally take the weight of the humiliation I suffered during that battle against Zalama, said the high priest while looking at Zeno's bodyguard, who understood Daishinkan's feelings. Zeno's bodyguard spoke. No need to worry, Daishinkan. This time I guarantee that Dragon God Zalama won't even come close to Zeno-sama, as I already have a plan against him. Zeno's bodyguard spoke. Hearing such words, Daishinkan was very surprised. Daishinkan thought, he's the other bodyguard. They never call me by my name, just for the title of High Priest. And not only that, he calls Zalama the Dragon God. That means he's serious, Daishinkan thought as he looked at Zeno's bodyguard, who had a very serious expression, something that Daishinkan was very surprised, because both guards always had a neutral expression on their faces. Daishinkan said, Okay, I'll go back to Zeno-sama's side now, and I hope that your plan will work, because if it doesn't, we can all die, and Zeno-sama can also die, said the angel to the bodyguard of Zeno, who soon turned around and started walking towards a portal that had appeared at that location. Zeno's bodyguard thought, I also hope that everything goes well with my plan, but I also have a plan B. After all, I had several years to think about it, since I knew that Zalama was still alive, sealed but still alive, thought Zeno's bodyguard, who soon passed through the portal, leaving Daishinkan alone in the place. Daishinkan said, Zalama, I hope your plans take a long time, because with the time, I'll train and prepare to kill you. And who knows that Saiyan called Son Goku and his friend Vegeta will come help me face Zalama, spoke the angel while looking at the sky, full of stars of that place. But soon it opens a portal and returns to the world where Zeno lived together with his other self from the future. In Universe 7, Planet Earth. Currently on planet Earth, it was possible to see several of Goku's friends still worried about his well-being. After all, the Saiyan had taken a very big beating from Zalama. But as it was Goku's fault who ended up asking to fight Zalama, no one suspected the God Dragon taking out Vegeta and Piccolo. Zalama, who was still eating while looking and talking to other people, especially Bulma, where he was fascinated by Bulma's ideas. After all, Zalama and Bulma were inventors and always liked new ideas. And one of the projects that Zalama was wanting to know the most was the machine from the time that Bulma had created. Zalama, the more he talked with Goku's friends, the more he was impressed with his achievements. After all, Goku was the low-class Saiyan and Vegeta was a high-class Saiyan. And even so, Goku was stronger than the Prince of Saiyans, and both Saiyans had already faced very powerful enemies, and yet they beat them all, even if they sometimes had to die in the process. They always came back to life. But one thing that no one noticed was the disgust and repulsion as well as anger that Zalama felt when he heard certain things like coming back to life whenever they wanted or traveling through time. These things were something unforgivable for Zalama, and he wondered why Zeno or the angels hadn't done anything to stop it at all. Zalama thought, Zeno is just a child playing God. How is it possible that he's allowed these mortals to do these kind of things? Like go back in time and revive whenever they want to. This can change the entire history of a universe, or even create new timelines. Everything now makes sense that explains the birth of Goku Black, thought Zalama as he felt angry at Zeno for allowing such things that could destroy his own time. Bulma said, "What happened, Zalama? You're looking like you're angry. Has something happened?" The blue-haired woman asked Zalama, who soon came out of her thoughts and looked at Bulma. Zalama said, "Nothing happened. I was just thinking about some things from my past. Things that I'm ashamed of, and I'm angry with myself for doing," said Zalama with a face and angrily pretending it was his past fault. Zalama said, "You know, even though I was strong, I was always jealous of Zeno for being stronger than me, and my envy only increased even more after I found out that Zeno had created several universes and gave it to his son to rule everything. And that left me with a lot of rage, just thinking that someone like Zeno would have absolute control of several universes, being that he was just an immature child," said Zalama with a tone of sadness and anger, at the same time making Bulma and some other people in the place get moved with his words. Bulma said, "But this is now in the past. Now you should focus on the future and not complain about your wrong decisions, and try to make the right decisions from today," said the woman, trying to comfort Zalama, who broke into a big smile, but it was a smile of pride and disgust while looking at Bulma. Zalama thought, "I thought mortals were intelligent, especially this human, but now I realize that she's very easy to manipulate, just like these other humans, and I am really disappointed. Not only that I feel sorry for Beerus and Whis for being such idiots to the point that they don't realize I'm fooling everyone in this place, to make it easier for them to show and teach me their secrets, especially the time machines, and I also really want the seeds of the gods," thought Zalama, as he looked at everyone while the one on his face had several drops of fake tears in his eyes, as Goku and the others tried to comfort Zalama, who thought how easy it was to manipulate all these mortals. While Zalama continued to manipulate everyone in the place, Vegeta and Piccolo, who were estranged from Zalama, started talking about Zalama and his intentions. Vegeta said, "The more I hear what he says, the more I think he's not telling the truth. What do you think?" Vegeta said as he looked at Zalama, and then asked Piccolo what he thought about Zalama's intentions. Piccolo thought, "I'm also thinking it's weird here. For some reason I think he's lying to us, and I'm sure his lies will put us in danger. And I'm sure he still hasn't forgotten what happened between him and this one, such Zeno," the Namekian said while looking at the dragon god Zalama, who was talking excitedly with everyone in the place, as he thought about how he would kill Zeno and steal his throne. On planet Earth. Currently on planet Earth, it was possible to see Zalama in the furthest place from everyone, where he was already organizing his plan to defeat Zeno-sama and take his throne and thus become the supreme being among all the universes. Zalama thought, "If it was thousands of years ago, before I was sealed by Zeno, I could easily finish off those brats of Zeno, and not only him and the Daishinkan as well, but because of my sealing, a lot of my power was lost. So now I have to come up with a plan to defeat Zeno and Daishinkan at once," thought Zalama as he watched everyone at the party and at the same time ate some ramen. Zalama thought, not counting those Zeno bodyguards, the last time I faced them, they were both very weak back then. But unfortunately now I'm weaker, and I know they must have come up with a plan to defeat me in case I get out of control and try to kill Zeno again. So I just need to be careful because they don't know about my plans, and that already gives me an advantage to defeat them, thought Zalama while remembering his battle against Zeno's bodyguards, where he defeated them in an overwhelming way. Zalama thought, well, whatever they may even be thinking, that they're stronger than me, but in reality I'm prepared to get stronger, and so when they least expect it, I will defeat them. But for now I must wait and keep my performance to make everyone in this place think I'm someone to be trusted, thought Zalama as he finished eating and soon noticed two people talking further away from the other people named Vegeta and Piccolo. Zalama thought, well, almost everyone thinks I'm good, but those two have some suspicions about me. Is it that I don't pretend to be a good enough person, or the two of them are very suspicious? Well, I just have to keep acting like a good person and they'll forget about this suspicion on me, thought Zalama as he looked at Vegeta and Piccolo, who clearly didn't like Zalama's presence. After some time watching Vegeta and Piccolo, Zalama finally decides to go back to the party, where he started talking to everyone in the place without exception. Something that Vegeta and Piccolo found very strange, that Zalama's interest with other people who weren't even strong. Vegeta said, now he suddenly wants to know about everyone at the party. But I find this guy strange, said the Prince of Saiyajins while watching Zalama. Piccolo said, more and more strange, more and more suspicious. This Zalama must be plotting something. But even if he were doing something, none of us could stop him. After all, he's still one of the 5 strongest beings in all the universes. And even Goku couldn't hurt him, spoke Piccolo while looking at Vegeta, who clicks his tongue because Piccolo is saying that he is weaker than Goku. Vegeta says, it's not because Kakarot lost his battle against Zalama that I would lose to him too, said the Saiyan, a little annoyed with Piccolo. Piccolo said, let's be honest, Vegeta, Goku is stronger than you and maybe the only way you can match Zalama, and if you two merge and then maybe you can end up hurting Zalama a little. But I doubt you can beat him, said the Namekian while looking at the Prince of Saiyans, who was annoyed to know that Piccolo was right at that moment. Bulma said, wow, you two really didn't like Zalama, did you? Said the woman arriving at that place and facing her husband and Piccolo. Vegeta said, no, I'm sure this Zalama isn't telling the whole truth about him. Not to mention he's changed so much after being sealed thousands of years inside the Super Dragon Balls. That's weird, said the Prince of Saiyans to Bulma, who stared at him. Bulma said, and you, Piccolo, what do you think about all this? The woman asked the Namekian. Piccolo said, to be honest, I don't think he regrets everything he did. And if he had been sealed by someone and after long years, I would want revenge. And that's why I don't trust Zalama, even though he's the first Namek. I didn't like this guy at all, said the Namekian, while facing Bulma, who after Piccolo and her husband's words, started to think about Zalama. Bulma said, now that you're talking, Zalama asked me several questions about the time machine, and also about the seeds of the gods. The woman said, soon leaving Piccolo and Vegeta worried about what Zalama would want with such information. Piccolo said, what does Zalama want with the seeds of the gods and the time machine? The Namekian wondered as he looked at the Saiyan next to him. Vegeta said, to be honest, I don't know, but I know what a good thing is it shouldn't be, said the Saiyan, already a little worried and annoyed about what Zalama would want with the seeds of the gods and the time machine created by Bulma. Bulma said, if you're so worried about this Zalama, why don't you talk about it with Whis or Beerus? Spoke Bulma while looking at Vegeta, who said, no, if we say that to Beerus or Whis, he'll probably want to talk to Zalama, and if that happens, said the Saiyan, and then paused, and Piccolo finished his sentence saying, we will all die. He's one of the 5 strongest beings in all the universes, so he could defeat all of us together, even Mr. Beerus and Whis, said the Namekian while looking at Bulma, who now understood, while they still haven't said anything to Beerus or Whis. Bulma said, so the only one we can count on about Zalama's suspicion is the Daishinkan High Priest. He spoke to Bulma, giving the idea of who could help them, and Daishinkan would be the best option among them all. Vegeta said, true, but how are we going to ask this to the Daishinkan? Asked the Saiyan while looking at Bulma, who immediately answered him, saying, Goku! He has the device that can summon Zeno or be summoned to Zeno's world. So if he presses that button, he can go to Zeno's world and take you together. And there you can talk to Daishinkan. But it's better not to say that to anyone but us, and especially to someone who would talk to Zalama or Beerus, said the woman while looking at her husband, and gave the idea of how they could talk to someone who would believe them. Piccolo said, "This is a good idea. So do any of you know where Goku kept this button to summon Zeno or go to his world?" Piccolo asked while looking at Bulma and Vegeta. Bulma said, "I don't know where he could have kept that button, but I'm sure Vegeta doesn't know either. So now we can only hope that Goku recovers as soon as possible, and only then will you be able to go to the world of Zeno. And who knows when you get there, both you and Goku can't be trained by the Great Priest. If that happens, maybe you can face Lord Zalama," said the woman, suggesting the training request for her husband and Piccolo. Vegeta said, "Yeah, that's a good idea. If I'm trained by the Daishinkan, I will finally be stronger than Kakarot, and I will be able to defeat Zalama myself," said the Saiyan in a lively and arrogant way, like a real Saiyan. Piccolo said, "Even in this situation, you still think about overcoming Goku," spoke the Namekian after heaving a heavy sigh because of Vegeta's arrogance and desire to surpass Goku. Piccolo thought, "Even though I know if I'm trained by the Daishinkan and get stronger, I know I won't be so strong as to injure Zalama, let alone defeat him, but at least I can help Goku and Vegeta defeat him. After all, I can't let this damn one touch any of those I like," thought the Namekian as he clenched his fist and looked back and watched Goku and his family, a family he liked to be a part of. Now with Zalama. A little further away from Piccolo and Vegeta, it was possible to see Zalama in the middle of a party talking to everyone, while giving Vegeta and the others next to him light glances. Zalama thought, "Looks like I'll have to act faster than I thought, because it looks like those two will do something, and it might get in my way. I'll have to act as soon as possible," thought the Dragon God as he looked at Vegeta and his group who were talking about Zalama. With that, we've come to the end of today's video. If you want to see the continuation of this incredible story, leave a lot of likes on the video and comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So until another day, guys.